In 1979, Ridley Scott, at the pinnacle of his creative prowess, introduced us to a realm where space isn't the final frontier and screaming is as futile as negotiating with a xenomorph about personal space. Alien, the progenitor of a franchise that's left an indelible mark on both science fiction and horror, masterfully melds cosmic terror with claustrophobic dread. The film doesn't just scare its audience, it engulfs them in a relentless atmosphere of suspense and paranoia. So let's embark on a darkly sardonic exploration of this seminal work, dissecting its cinematic entrails and its director's cut to understand why I'll be focusing on the theatrical. Scott's creation was a landmark in genre cinema, blending the high-concept science fiction of space exploration with the raw terror of survival horror. Alien took the then-novel concept of a creature feature and elevated it to new heights, delivering not only groundbreaking visuals, but also a narrative rich with subtext and thematic depth. The film's impact on popular culture and the film industry was immediate and enduring, setting a new standard for what sci-fi horror could achieve.
I've never seen anything like it.
I'll be discussing the theatrical release in this review, as this version has a runtime and very deliberate pacing that creates a sense of mounting dread, drawing the audience into the claustrophobic world of the Nostromo and its ill-fated crew. In contrast, the 2003 director's cut offers an expanded experience with additional scenes that provide more background on the characters, their relationships and the world they inhabit. These added moments include the infamous scene where Ripley discovers the cocooned Dallas and Brett. And whilst these scenes add depth and context, they also alter the film's rhythm, diluting the relentless momentum that defines the theatrical version. It's akin to spending more time in a haunted house after knowing where all the ghosts hide. The scares are still there, but the element of surprise is lessened. It also kind of foobars the canon of the Queen in the second, and I can't help but wonder if Ridley included it for that very reason. The director's cut, while fascinating and rich in additional details, is more of a curiosity. Scott's preference for the theatrical version underscores the importance of pacing in horror, where less is more, and the razor-sharp knife of suspense is more effective than a blunted one. Now, the production of Alien is a tale fraught with innovation and insanity, a behind-the-scenes odyssey nearly as gripping as the film itself. Concept artist H.R. Giger's designs were as unsettling as they were groundbreaking, bringing to life a creature that epitomises the Freudian nightmare. Giger's work was initially met with resistance from 20th Century Fox executives, who were less than thrilled by his visceral, erotic, phallic, biomechanical sketches. Yet it was this very discomfort that translated into the film's uniquely horrifying aesthetic, a fusion of organic and mechanical that left audiences both mesmerised and mortified. The film's production design, overseen by the talented Ron Cobb and Chris Foss, further amplified its nightmarish quality. The Nostromo, with its dark industrial corridors, felt like a character in its own right, a labyrinthian death trap where terror lurks around every corner. Cobb and Foss designed the ship to look like an oil rig in space, complete with cluttered control panels, dripping pipes and a lived-in, gritty environment. It's the kind of place where you'd expect to find a vending machine that only sells expired snacks. This meticulous attention to detail created an atmosphere of oppressive realism that made the horrors aboard the Nostromo feel all too plausible. The Nostromo's design also embraced a retro-futurist style, an aesthetic choice that is aged like a fine wine left too long in a spooky cellar. The ship's technology, with its chunky keyboards, blinking lights and monochrome screens, feels like a love letter to 1970s tech optimism. In an age where sleek touchscreen interfaces dominate our lives, the physicality of this tech, with its buttons, levers and knobs, gives it a rugged, utilitarian feel, like something you could actually fix with a wrench and a bit of elbow grease. This tactile quality makes the ship's technology seem more reliable and durable, reinforcing the idea that in the harsh, unforgiving environment of space, simplicity and robustness are key. This lends the film a unique charm and a timeless quality, grounding its sci-fi horror in a reality that feels both nostalgic and eerily plausible. The control panels, with their tactile buttons and switches, invite viewers to imagine a world where space travel is as hands-on as fixing an old car. This approach not only enhances the film's realism, but also underscores the isolation and vulnerability of the crew, cut off from the sleek, omnipresent technology that modern audiences might take for granted. Ron Cobb, a design wizard, didn't just stop at Alien. He lent his genius to Star Wars, crafting the look of the cantina and several alien species, and also designed the iconic DeLorean time machine in Back to the Future. Chris Foss, with his eye for the fantastical, contributed to the conceptual designs for Guardians of the Galaxy and provided stunning visualizations for Dune. But it really is the practical effects in Alien that are a testament to the ingenuity and creativity of the special effects team. The Xenomorph and Facehugger, the film's gruesome stars, were brought to life through a combination of prosthetics, puppetry, and a healthy dose of nightmare fuel. These practical effects were not just impressive for their time, but remain iconic in the realm of horror cinema. The Xenomorph, with its elongated head, dripping maw and skeletal body, is a design straight out of a twisted fever dream. The creature was brought to life by the legendary special effects artist Carlo Rambaldi, known for his work on E.T. and Close Encounters of the Third Kind. The suit was worn by a 6'10" Nigerian design student named Balaji Badejo, whose slender frame and towering height gave the alien its otherworldly appearance. Badejo was discovered in a London bar, proving that sometimes the perfect monster is just a chance encounter away. The suit itself was a marvel of engineering, with Giger's intricate designs translated into a wearable form that still allowed for movement. Despite its terrifying appearance, Badejo had to endure long hours in the suit, which was as uncomfortable as it was menacing. This commitment to realism paid off, though, as the Xenomorph's presence on screen is as chilling today as it was in 1979. The Facehugger, that delightful little parasite with a penchant for impromptu make-out sessions, was another triumph of practical effects. Made from a combination of sheep intestines, shellfish, and a lot of latex, the Facehugger was as grotesque in reality as it was on screen. The movement of the Facehugger's legs was achieved by animating each limb individually, a painstaking process that ensured the creature moved with a disturbing realism. The initial Facehugger scene, where it leaps onto Kane's face, was a combination of practical effects and quick cuts, creating a moment of pure shock and horror. The chestburster scene, perhaps the most infamous moment, was a masterpiece of practical effects and sheer audacity. John Hurt had to endure several takes of having the creature erupt from a prosthetic chest, with the final result being a combination of blood squibs, puppetry, and the genuine shock of the cast. To achieve the scene's visceral realism, Ridley Scott, famously, didn't warn the actors about the amount of blood that would be used, resulting in reactions of genuine horror and disgust. Veronica Cartwright's scream, followed by her being drenched, was as real as it gets. Sometimes the best effects come from simply not telling your cast what's about to happen. The chest burster was another creation of Carlo Rambaldi, who meticulously crafted the creature to burst out in a way that was both shocking and believable. Together, these practical effects created a tangible, terrifying world that digital effects often struggle to replicate. The tactile nature of the Xenomorph and Facehugger made them feel real, a presence that could reach out from the screen and into the audience's night terrors. The practical effects team's dedication and creativity ensured that Alien not only looked believable, but felt viscerally unsettling, cementing its place as a landmark in horror filmmaking. The success of Alien paved the way for the special effects team to work on other notable films. So what do sonic screams, or rather inaudible screams, in space sound like? Jerry Goldsmith's score is a masterclass in auditory anxiety, a symphony of impending doom that thrums and shrieks, echoing the horror that unfolds on screen. Goldsmith's music is not merely a background element, it's a character unto itself, whispering malevolent promises into the void. The score's eerie, dissonant tones perfectly complement the visual's aesthetic, heightening the sense of unease and foreboding. The soundscape of Alien is meticulously crafted, with every creak, hiss and rumble designed to keep us on the edge of our seats. Goldsmith's initial composition for the film was more traditional and, believe it or not, romantic, but Ridley Scott found it too soothing for a film about an interstellar death trap. The final soundtrack, with its unsettling strings and haunting motifs, was a result of this push for a more discordant and anxiety-inducing score. This musical transformation mirrors the film's broader themes of disorientation and fear, turning the familiar into a foreign and the comforting into the unsettling. The score's ability to evoke a visceral emotional response is a testament to Goldsmith's genius and his understanding of the film's core terror. Adding to a sonic landscape is the expert sound design, by a team led by Terry Rawlings. The use of silence, punctuated by sudden jarring noises, creates a dynamic audio experience that plays on the audience's nerves. The iconic scene of the chestburster's birth is not just visually horrifying, it's audibly traumatic. With the creature's screeches and the crew's screams blending into a cacophony of panic. This meticulous attention to sound elevates the movie from a mere visual spectacle to a fully immersive experience, where every sound amplifies the dread. So how did they plot this cruise into cosmic carnage? Well, the plot of Alien is a straightforward descent into horror, a perfect marriage of simplicity and suspense. The commercial towing vehicle Nostromo, with its 7-member crew, is diverted from their journey home to investigate a distress signal from a desolate moon.
Where's Earth?
You should know.
This seemingly routine mission quickly turns into a nightmare. The Nostromo crew, blissfully unaware of the cosmic horror awaiting them, dutifully follow standard protocol, read corporate mandate, to investigate that distress signal. It's almost endearing how they treat the discovery of an eerie, derelict alien spaceship like a casual roadside stop. Here they encounter a field of alien eggs, leading to the classic horror trope, the unfortunate event of Kane, John Hurt, becoming an incubator for an alien parasite. His curiosity proves fatal, as a facehugger attaches itself to him with a kind of enthusiasm usually reserved for over-eager relatives at Christmas. Once back on the Nostromo, the crew's attempts to remove the facehugger go about as well as trying to detach a particularly determined tick, and Kane eventually wakes up, seemingly fine.
Remember some horrible dream about smothering?
Of course, in horror movie logic, fine is just the calm before the storm. Over a cheerful Last Supper, Kane's chest explodes in that scene that guarantees no one ever looks at spaghetti the same way again. The newborn Xenomorph, equal parts adorable and horrifying, scurries off to grow up and pursue its true calling, reducing the ship's population. The film then transitions into a high-stakes hide-and-seek match with the Xenomorph, which evolves from a little terror into an apex predator, with the efficiency of a horror movie puberty montage. The crew's attempts to outsmart the creature prove futile, each demise serving as a grim punchline to the cosmic joke they've unwittingly become part of. Brett, Harry Dean Stanton, goes searching for the ship's cat Jonesy, only to find that curiosity kills more than just the cat. Dallas, Tom Skerritt, heroically ventures into the air ducts, only to meet a fate that makes even the bravest souls reconsider their air conditioning maintenance schedules. As the crew dwindles, paranoia and dread mount. Ripley, Sigourney Weaver, emerges as our reluctant hero, her no-nonsense approach clashing with the growing hysteria. She uncovers that Ash, Ian Holm, the ship's science officer, is actually an android with a secret directive to ensure the aliens' survival at any cost, courtesy of their oh-so-caring employer, Weyland-Yutani. Ash's eventual meltdown, quite literally, provides the crew a brief respite, but the Xenomorph is still at large and is not interested in severance packages.
There's gotta be a way of killing it. How? How do we do it?
You can't.
The final act sees Ripley as the last woman standing, determined to blow the ship and its unwelcome guest into the void. The climax is a TED talk in suspense. Ripley sets the Nostromo to self-destruct, but the Xenomorph, displaying an annoyingly persistent survival instinct, tries to hitch a ride on the escape shuttle. In a nail-biting showdown, Ripley finally ejects the creature into space, ending its murderous spree and ensuring she has the worst case of PTSD in the galaxy. Ripley's evolution from a by-the-book officer, or space Karen, to a battened, hardened survivor is central to the plot's impact. The plot's genius lies in its simplicity, allowing the film's other elements, performance, design and sound, to shine and amplify the terror. So here we have the unlucky 7. Let's take a look at the cast. Sigourney Weaver's portrayal of Ellen Ripley is the cornerstone of Alien. Her performance is a PhD in understated intensity. Weaver imbues Ripley with a blend of resilience and vulnerability, a far cry from the typical damsels in distress populating the genre at the time. Tom Skerritt's Dallas, the pragmatic captain, serves as a counterpoint to Ripley's more cautious approach. Skerritt brings a gruff charisma to the role, embodying the weary leader who is just trying to get his crew home.
Dad.
Well, yeah, we can. You think that's a good idea?
Look, I just want to get the hell out of here, all right?
Dallas's calm under pressure is tested as the situation aboard the Nostromo deteriorates, and his decision to hunt the Xenomorph in the ship's air ducts leads to one of the film's most suspenseful sequences. Skerritt's performance balances the line between command and camaraderie, making Dallas a character whose loss is keenly felt. John Hurt's Kane delivers one of cinema's most iconic and gruesome death scenes, his performance forever etched in the annals of horror lore. Hurt's portrayal of Kane's curiosity,
Organic life.
and subsequent demise is a chilling reminder of the perils of space exploration. The infamous chestburster scene, which Kane's seemingly innocent dinner goes horrifically wrong, is a testament to Hurt's ability to convey agony and shock. Ian Holm's Ash is a study in controlled menace. Calm and collected science officer with a hidden agenda. Holmes' performance adds a layer of insidious tension to the film, particularly when Ash's true nature is revealed. As an android with a secret directive to ensure the alien's survival, Ash's betrayal is both chilling and poignant, showcasing Holmes' ability to switch from supportive crew member to a malevolent entity with unnerving ease. His eventual deactivation, involving a memorable milk-like fluid leakage, underscores the eerie artificiality of his character.
You admire it.
I admire its purity.
Veronica Cartwright's Lambert is the emotional barometer of the crew, her escalating panic mirroring the audience's growing sense of terror. Cartwright's portrayal of Lambert's fear and desperation is palpable, making her character's reactions a crucial part of the film's tension. Lambert's terror is contagious, and her vulnerability adds a human element to the crew's plight. Her final moments, marked by a mix of terror and helplessness, are a stark contrast to Ripley's steely resolve, highlighting different facets of human reaction to unimaginable horror. Harry Dean Stanton's Brett is the laid-back engineer, whose search for the ship's cat Jonesy ends in disaster. Stanton's portrayal of Brett as a grizzled blue-collar worker provides a grounded, everyman perspective amidst the high-stakes horror. His gruff exterior and casual demeanour make his untimely end all the more shocking. Brett's death scene, set in the dripping claustrophobic bowels of the Nostromo, underscore the film's theme of the unpredictable and merciless nature of the Xenomorph. Yaphet Kotto's Parker is a breath of fresh air with his no-nonsense attitude and dry wit. As the ship's chief engineer, Parker's pragmatic approach to the increasingly dire situation offers a counterbalance to the escalating panic of his crewmates. Kotto's performance infuses the film with a sense of grounded realism, his character's bravado masking an underlying vulnerability. Parker's heroism in his final moments, as he attempts to protect Lambert from the alien, adds a layer of tragedy to his character's arc.
Get out of the way, Levis!
Together, these actors create a believable and relatable ensemble, their distinct personalities and interactions adding depth to the film's narrative. The cast, chemistry and individual performances lifts Alien up from a simple creature feature to a nuanced and compelling story of survival and human resilience. Their portrayals ensure that the audience is not just watching a horror movie, but experiencing a harrowing journey alongside a crew that feels all too real. Now, it would seem in Alien that space is the final profit frontier. It isn't just a horror film, it's a bleak commentary on isolation, paranoia and corporate greed, all wrapped up in a slick sci-fi package. Imagine being so desperate to clock out of work that you'd rather face a killer alien than deal with one more day at the office. That's the plight of the Nostromo crew, who discovered that in space, no one can hear you scream about unfair labour practices.
We get full shares!
Don't worry, Parker, yeah. You'll get whatever's coming to you.
The vast, unfeeling void of space also serves as the ultimate metaphor for loneliness. The crew of the Nostromo is isolated, not just physically, but emotionally. They're light years away from the nearest Starbucks or Costa, and the ship's claustrophobic interiors only amplify this sense of confinement. It's like being stuck on an endless road trip with your least favourite people. But instead of bad petrol station snacks, you have a murderous alien stowaway. The lack of external communication underscores the vulnerability of the crew, being trapped in their own steel coffin with no hope of rescue. Their interactions become increasingly strained as the reality of their predicament sets in. The ship's cold, industrial design mirrors their emotional detachment, creating a palpable sense of dread that permeates every scene. Well, trust issues are sure to abound when you realise your shipmate is secretly an android with a sinister agenda. Ripley's suspicion towards Ash is the ultimate office drama, only with higher stakes than a passive-aggressive email. The mounting paranoia turns the Nostromo into a floating HR nightmare, where every glance or sudden movement could mean your imminent demise. It's less team-building exercise and more survival of the fittest. As the alien threat escalates, so does the crew's mistrust of each other, creating a tension that is almost unbearable.
Rig 3 or 4 incinerator units.
Give me about 20 minutes, I'll do it.
The uncertainty of who or what can be trusted amplifies the horror,
I don't trust him.
I don't trust anybody.
making the alien itself almost secondary to the creeping dread of betrayal, a theme that resonates deeply with anyone who has ever felt alienated in their own environment. Then we come to the corporate greed, Weyland-Yutani, the galaxy's most heartless conglomerate. Their motto might as well be profit over people. The company's directive to retrieve the alien life form at any cost, even human life, is a scathing indictment of corporate malfeasance. It's like if Amazon decided to prioritise delivering a deadly virus just to see if it would boost Prime subscriptions. But there again, they did make Rents of Power. Ash's secret mission reveals that the crew members are expendable assets in the eyes of their employers, a grim reminder that when it comes to corporate profits, humanity takes a back seat. The theme of corporate exploitation is chillingly relevant, as the crew's lives are deemed less valuable than the potential profits from weaponising the alien. The film critiques the dehumanising nature of corporate policies, where employees are merely cogs in the machine, easily replaced and readily sacrificed. It's a dark reflection of real-world practices, making the horror of the film hit uncomfortably close to home. And let's not forget the delightful body horror theme the alien gifts us. The alien's life cycle, from facehugger to chestburster, is a full TED talk in making audiences squirm. It's a not-so-subtle nod to the anxieties around bodily autonomy and violation, making it the worst case of heartburn ever. Kane's unforgettable death scene is a morbidly humorous take on the consequences of not reading the fine print in your alien encounter guidebook. The intimate violation by the facehugger and the grotesque birth of the chestburster tap into primal fears of infection, impregnation, and bodily autonomy. The Xenomorph itself, with its phallic head and nightmarish life cycle, embodies these fears in a way that is disturbing and also quite intellectually provocative. This theme extends to the idea of human bodies being used as mere vessels for something horrific, a notion that is as horrifying as it is compelling. Ripley's transformation from rule-following officer, Space Karen...
Wait a minute. If we let it in, the ship could be infected. You know the quarantine procedure.
24 hours for
to badass survivor is a testament to human resilience. When the chips are down, it turns out that the best way to deal with corporate death trap is to blow it up and take your chances with the alien, outside. Ripley's journey is less about heroism and more about the sheer stubbornness to not die horribly, a sentiment we can all relate to after a rough Monday. Her pragmatic approach and unwavering determination highlight the theme of survival against the odds, a core element of the film's appeal. Ripley's resilience in the face of overwhelming terror is not just about physical survival, but also about maintaining her humanity. She embodies the struggle to preserve one's integrity and sanity when everything around you is falling apart. This theme of resilience is universal, resonating with anyone who has ever faced insurmountable odds and found the strength to keep going. In Alien, Scott deftly weaves these themes into a narrative that's as thought-provoking as it is terrifying. The film's genius lies in its ability to scare you senseless, while also making you ponder the darker aspects of human nature and corporate ethics. It's an experience that leaves you questioning who the real monsters are, the aliens or the humans who exploit them. Each theme is interwoven with the next, creating a complex tapestry that elevates the film from a simple horror story to a profound commentary on society and the human condition. This multifaceted approach ensures that Alien remains relevant and thought-provoking and will continue to captivate and unsettle audiences. From Geiger's nightmarish designs to the gritty retro-futuristic charm of the Nostromo, every element of this film was meticulously crafted to scare the space pants off audiences everywhere. In Alien, we've discovered a universe where corporate greed makes interstellar travel about as appealing as a facehugger's cuddle session. We've seen how isolation and paranoia can turn a crew of professional space truckers into the galaxy's most dysfunctional family. And let's not forget the tech, a delightful mix of rugged buttons and chunky screens that make you want to grab a wrench and start fixing things, even if it's just to avoid being the next meal for a xenomorph. Ridley Scott's masterpiece showed us that in the cold, unfeeling vacuum of space, the real horror isn't just the perfect predator lurking in the shadows, but the even scarier notion that your employer might be rooting for the monster. It's a film that reminds us that sometimes the true final frontier isn't space, it's navigating the labyrinth of corporate bureaucracy without getting eaten. Next time you're nestled comfortably in your cinema seat, remember this. In the void of space, your screams may be swallowed by the darkness. It's a stark reminder that while space is silent, the terror it holds is loud and clear. And maybe, just maybe, think twice before responding to that distress signal. It's all fun and games until someone ends up as an alien hors d'oeuvre. I've been Eclectica, and please like and consider subscribing to my little space on the interwebs, and I'll see you in the next one, where we add an S to Alien and review the most quotable film ever.